In this GraphicsFlow tutorial, we're going to talk about the team settings that's available in your account. Now, once you've logged into GraphicsFlow, you can navigate to the left-hand side and click Team Settings. And here, there's three major settings that are available to you, and we're going to walk through those now. Now, you'll notice at the very top, you can navigate to those three different workspaces: Profile, Art Approvals, and Policies and Disclaimers. So let's talk about Profile first. Here, you can input a name to represent your business. So of course, you're going to typically want to use your company name, so you can input that here. Next, you can upload your company logo and your branding. And this is the branding that's going to display when you send an art approval to a customer. So make sure to upload the appropriate brand asset here. You can always make updates and changes at any time. Now next, we're going to go to Art Approvals, and this is the watermark settings that you can configure. And watermarks are a very important tool that will help protect you when you're sending art to your customers to collaborate. This will likely lessen the likelihood that they might be tempted to take one of the art files and send that to a competitor. So here at the very top, you can make a decision. Do you want to, by default, display watermarks on all art approvals? So you don't have to think about it. I want to point out you can turn on and off art approvals at each individual art approval. And the reason that that's important, if you have a corporate logo, let's say your client is Starbucks, you might not want to display copyrighted on the Starbucks logo because you're not the copyright holder. So that's the flexibility that's built into GraphicsFlow. You can enable or disable watermark entirely, or you can do it at the individual art approval level. Now next, you can choose the text that you want to display. And by display, this is text that will overlay the art file. So again, it provides a degree of protection. So notice I can input whatever text here. So copyrighted, copyright, protected, whatever is appropriate to you. You can even use your company name if you should choose. Next, you can choose the text color. Do you want it to be dark or light? You can also choose the position. Do you want it to repeat, so it's sort of tessellated and will kind of just repeat, or do you want it to be centered? Next, I can rotate, so you can choose sort of the angle or the rotation of that text. And then the last two options is for opacity and size. So these sliders allow you to make the watermark sort of more opaque, so it's not so obvious, or you could sort of really slide that up to make it more visible. It's entirely up to you. So I definitely recommend experimenting with these. You can also send yourselves some test art approvals just to see what that looks like, to really refine and dial in the appropriate watermark. It's all based on preference. Now, when you're done making adjustments here, and you can do that based on the default sample, so you can see of these changes, what it looks like. When you're satisfied, what you can do is click Update Default Watermark, and those settings will be saved and preserved, and you're free to always make modifications. Now, the next tab is for Policies and Disclaimers. So in the bottom of your art approvals will be links to these policies. And color disclaimer, of course, is an important way to inform a customer that there is variance between every single monitor on different devices. So albeit you're presenting a graphic that has colors in it, those colors will have variance. So this is a great opportunity for you to point that out and make sure customers acknowledge that what they might see on their screen could be different from what they receive. Now, next is terms and conditions. So you want to be mindful of describing, when you approve art content, you're sort of, there's no liability on our end. You're responsible for final approval and authorization. So think about the language you want to use. You might even want to consult with an attorney to make sure that you're covering all of your bases with terms and conditions, if that should become problematic. Now, we also display default terms here, and you can always reset those terms to default, and you can always choose to modify. So if you want to put in some extra copy here, extra messaging, you can click Update and save that as your updated version of color or terms and conditions messaging that will display. So that is a quick overview of the three key functions and workspaces that's available in Team Settings in your GraphicsFlow account. Now, if you have any questions about this feature or any of the other features in GraphicsFlow, make sure to reach out to our support team. We'd be glad to give you a hand.